This is a brief demonstration of IBM BigFix Remote Control used in both managed and peer-to-peer modes. Remote control can be established using a controller application that's deployable from the BigFix console, or in a managed environment simply allowing the server to start a session using Java Web Start if installed. Let's start by using a managed environment. Using your web browser, navigate to the URL of the Managed Remote Control server and log in. Remote control users can either be locally managed users or be integrated with an existing Active Directory environment to provide central user management capabilities. In this case, we're going to be using an Active Directory user. When you first log in, the first screen you see is a list of managed targets that have reported their availability to the remote control server. In this case, it's easy to locate a target because the list is small. However, in an environment of hundreds or thousands of targets, the search feature can come in handy for locating the computer you wish to remote control to. To search for a computer, click Target, then Search, and enter either part of or the entire computer name. And you'll be provided with a list of computers that match your search criteria. Click on the computer to be controlled and select Start Session. The following screen gives you the information on the target and its effective permissions when controlling from your current ID. You can then select the type of session you will be using: chat, monitor, guidance, active, file transfer, reboot, or cancel. In this case, let's select active. The Java application will then launch, and you'll be connected to the target computer. This is the controller screen, and on the left is the actual end user target screen. So as you can see, whatever I do on my controller screen also happens on the target screen, on the end user's target screen. So in many cases, when we remote control to a user, the first thing we want to know is, what about this computer doesn't do what we're expecting it to do? Why doesn't it perform the way we want it to perform? So one of the first things that I usually do is get the info, get the local system info on the machine. By clicking on the eye on the top list of button menus, you're going to get a lot of information on this particular computer that may be useful in your troubleshooting during this session. Whether it be RAM, hard drive free space, list of services, so on and so forth, host name. Once we've determined what we want to do, then we can either, in an active mode session, we can either take that action ourselves, or we can also instruct the user on what actions he needs to take. We can do that by selecting the guidance mode and then selecting guidance tools. Tell the user, click, here is the application that we want to work with. And this is what we want you to do with this application. Double left click. As you can see, it shows up, the instruction shows up on our screen, but if you look at the end user screen, this is also what they see. So they also have the ability to see the instruction that you are giving them on the screen. When we're done with the instructions, we can clear, and we can go back to active. In the event that we, as the support personnel, need to perform any actions that require us to enter passwords or enter usernames or even enter URLs or locations that we do not want the user to see, then what we do on our side is we enable what's called privacy mode. By enabling the privacy mode, and once again, this is the computer screen on the left, and this is our controller screen on the right. By enabling the privacy mode, we can then show the user or any person standing in front of that computer this screen while we perform actions on that computer. As you can see, some of your mouse clicks come through, but overall the user is unaware of any of the places you're going to or any of the things that you're doing. When you're ready to show the user his screen again, disable privacy mode, and the user will immediately be able to see what you're seeing. This is an example of a managed environment remote control session. However, if we install the platform or if we install remote control as a peer-to-peer option instead of using a managed server, then we can also remote control to those machines directly from the IBM Endpoint Manager console. The only ability that you have through the Endpoint Manager console is if it is a peer-to-peer installation. A managed mode will not work. The first thing you need to do is ensure that you have the remote controller installed on the machine, on the source machine where you are going to perform this remote control. Once that's been established, log into the console and find the computer that you wish to remote control to. For this demonstration, I've configured the computer Omnibus with this functionality. This is the computer that I've configured with this functionality, peer-to-peer. I right-click on it, and I select IBM Endpoint Manager for remote control. The controller will be launched and you'll be prompted for the appropriate credentials to allow you to start a remote control session for the target computer. Only users in a specified group that is defined by administrators will be allowed to start a session with this computer. If this user is not in that defined group, the session will be rejected. In the previous example, I remote controlled to a workstation, so I did not prompt for a user to accept the specific remote control session. However, this being a server, I configured it so that the user is presented with a dialog that allows him to accept or refuse the session. If the user refuses the session, your controller will be notified. If the user accepts the session, then you will gain remote control to this target. However, you can also configure it for default operation in the event that no user is available to accept or refuse the session. In this case, the default is refusal, but in this case, I've set the default to acceptance. And this means that if no user accepts or refuses the connection within the specified period of time, which is also definable by the administrator, then the computer will automatically be put into a remote control session with the controller. As you can see, the time expired, and we now have remote control of this server. The confirmation window can be set to display a specific message or for a specific length of time, and then the action of accept or refuse automatically can be set. Once you're connected, you can perform the same steps that you did in the previous example. This has been just a small demonstration of the many configuration options available within the BigFix remote control platform.